What's up, everybody? It's Lawrence again, and today we have a special showdown between the Pegasus Turbo 1 and the Pegasus Turbo 2. I know the Pegasus Turbo 1's not that official name, so please don't leave in the comments below what the official name is. It's just much easier to do this video when I say ones and twos, just like a DJ. So let's start with upper like we always do. The Pegasus 2 has this relatively cool mesh upper. I'd say it's much more breathable than the 1. But I don't like the aesthetic of it that much, and so what it looks like is that there are these little lines that are striated throughout, and they become thicker on the bottom and become less prominent as you move up to the top of the upper. The main difference here from the Pegasus 1 is that here you have fly wire cables that you can see for the lacing system, and then over here on the 2 you have a very much more kind of double lacing system that the Epic React has. And so the Epic React is a great piece of this, but I really do think that the 1 has a much better lacing system with the flywire for this specific type of material. The Epic React with its fly knit, I don't feel like has that issue, and I absolutely love that fact. Also, looking at the rest of the Turbo 2, you have this bit large Nike swoosh that extends into the midsole. You have the same thing over here. The main difference is obviously that the mesh on the 1 has a very contrasting underlying color that's in there. On the 2, you don't see it as much. That's really more of an overlay based on those lines that you see, and the bottom is mainly that gray. I'm really hoping that they release other colors of this pair of shoe, which they definitely will, because it is a GR pair or general release pair. But it's not that great of an upper. I feel like it fuses a lot of different elements from different shoes, but because of that, I feel like it cheapens it. On the 1, you can definitely make a huge distinction between what the 1 is and basically every other Nike running shoe. It has this awesome racing stripe that runs in the middle. Whether or not you like it or not, you have to agree that it's distinctive. The contrasting bottom and the top overlays of mesh also give it a really cool color, so the blue kind of peeks through in the light, but then normally it's just predominantly a dark upper. So that's really great about the shoe. But on the aesthetic side, I'd say that this has a lot of these weird elements, and has elements of the Zoom Fly, which I see in the tongue, has elements of the Epic React, which I see in the lacing system, has elements of the Vapor Streets, which is a smaller swoosh over here, and more from the Zoom Fly in the back over here with kind of the numbers for a timer. The only other major difference I would say for this shoe on the upper is going to be the collars. You have a very thick collar in the 1, which I think is phenomenal, and then you have a very loose upper, thin upper over here, and it's not padded. So you can see that the Pegasus 1 has a lot of padding, which probably leads to less breathability, why I believe this is actually a hotter shoe. And over here, it's basically very thin. There's definitely some reinforcement in the back here in the heel cup. That's actually pretty hard, that the Pegasus 1 also has, but for the most part, I would say that the padding over here for me is very comfortable, mainly because I have a really thin Achilles / ankle area, and so heel slippage for me is a huge deal. And heel slippage on this shoe, on the 2, is almost completely and utterly unbearable for me. I cannot actually wear the shoe, and I think, you know, that really dampens my whole entire experience of the shoe. But ultimately, I've been trying to run and also trying to walk in these, and I can't wear thick enough socks where my foot does not slip out of the back. And these are exactly the same size, and there's no way I'm going to size down. However, there is one major advantage to the 2 that the 1 doesn't have. The 2 definitely is much more comfortable in the toe box. One of my biggest gripes about the 1 is that it has a really shallow toe box, and what happens is your foot kind of gets scrunched in. I do have a trick to alleviate that, which is to take the insole out and just walk directly on the ZoomX, or run directly on the ZoomX for a little while. It's going to actually compress that foam because it's so soft and conform to your foot, that when you put the insole back in, it's going to give you just enough breathing room to hopefully make the upper a little less restrictive on the toe box. You definitely don't have that issue with the 2, and the 2 definitely has a lot more room on the toe box, so I really like that a lot. The other thing, when it comes down to the midfoot area, I'd say because of the flywire and the difference in lacing technology over here, that the 1 also beats out on that. I think the flywire gives me a much better snug fit on the midfoot. There's actually nothing wrong with this type of double lacing system on the 2. I just don't prefer it because I feel like the the tightening of the shoe is only over the top, and it really doesn't pull the rest of the mesh in. I don't necessarily feel that way about the Epic React, which is where this lacing system comes from. I think the Epic React and the Flyknit that kind of go together really well with the type of lacing system. It just doesn't go as well with the mesh. The one last thing with the upper end, this is not something I normally really pick up on. I would say that the tongue for the 1 is a lot better for me than the 2. And the main reason is because, maybe it's also because like this is much looser and I've had this for a lot longer, but I can slip my foot into this really easily. The tongue just kind of is detached in a way that works really well, but it's still kind of sewed into the mesh, and you can't really see it over here, but you can, there's something about this tongue that I like a lot better. I don't really love the Nike tongues that have come out recently that are kind of a little flimsier. I can understand like why you want to reduce weight, you want to reduce, increase breathability and that type of stuff, but it actually makes it harder to get the foot in just because it obviously scrunches a lot easier, and there's much more rigidity to this specific tongue. So that's one of the things that I definitely noticed. Finally, one of the things I do want to address, just because it's not in my Pegasus 35 Turbo review, is you can see it's splitting apart over here, which a lot of people seem to have issues with. This has been split apart almost like within the first month of me having it. And so I put this shoe through hell and high water. It's gone through torrential rains, it's gone through theme parks, it's gone through a bunch of travel, and no matter what I do, this is the worst that it got. And so when it comes down to the split, I haven't had this long enough, but I would say that if it is the same midsole and outsole, which I think it is, I wouldn't worry too much. Both are going to be extremely durable. I'm actually surprised how well the rubber lasted on the 1. I just kind of want to note this for people who've not seen any of my videos. So the top is made out of this ZoomX material, and the bottom is made out of this React material, which are both foams. So this dual density foam, the idea behind it is the very top of it is a much softer, lighter weight foam that basically compresses to your foot really well. The ZoomX technology was first introduced into their Breaking 2 really marketing scheme, but it was the idea of creating a shoe based out of ZoomX and carbon fiber that propel a runner to actually be able to run a marathon in under 2 hours, which is absolutely insane. Ultimately, they were not able to do it, but they came damn close. But overall, I'd say that if you guys have not tried on the Pegasus 35 Turbo, the 1, which is this one, or the 2, or the Gyakuso version, which is this one, definitely do it. Most people would compare the energy return of Comfort to Boost. I actually think it's significantly better than Boost. And so, for the most part, if you're looking for one of the most comfortable runners and don't mind spending almost $200 for a shoe, this would definitely have to be it. Not the Gyakuso, but just kind of one of these 3. So right now, I'm not exactly sure what the price of the 1 is. I probably should have did a little more research before I did this video. But if anybody wants to post links of this one on sale, post them in the comments below. This is definitely a general release pair, and so is this one. And so I think that if you're actually able to get the 1 on sale, I would definitely go with the 1. The 2, to me, isn't the best upgrade. However, the other distinction I definitely want to make that the 2 is definitely better for is if you do know that your foot is not comfortable in the toe box area of the 1, you will be alleviated, I think, in the 2. And so that's something of consideration if you were looking at the 1, didn't buy it because of how tight it was, and now you're looking at the 2. I'd say that the 2 is definitely worth it in that scenario. However, a flip side of that is if you do have thin ankles like me, the ankle support and thickness and padding for this pair is a lot better than this pair. For me, I actually can't even wear this pair. It slips out way too much and there's not much I can do, so unfortunately the Turbo 2 is not a shoe that I'm going to keep because there's nothing I can do with it. I can't walk with it, I can't run with it, and it is what it is. So I do have my 1, I also have my Gyakuso version, which I absolutely love, and so that's what I'm going to end up eventually going with. But more than likely, you're going to catch this on sale, and if you can catch this on sale, it's definitely worth whatever price you're about to pay for it. And that's it. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have any specific questions on which one you think that you should buy, definitely let me know. They're both, I would say, true to size, and so you can keep to that. And that's it. Until next time, this is the Pegasus 35. Oh, actually, no. This is the Pegasus Turbo 2 versus the Pegasus 35 Turbo. Peace.